Hey VC, it's Jonathan, the cheap and cheerful record collector. I hope everybody's doing well out there today. I was watching a video the other day by Bob Bradley. If you don't know Bob, you definitely have to check his channel out. Him and I have very similar musical tastes, a lot of classic rock, jazz, blues, etc. So he did a video where he got a box of blues records, and he was going through showing us all the different records that he got, some great records that he got. And he picked out one record and he goes, I don't know these people at all, never heard of them. And I'm like, really? I discovered them in 1965 when I was 16 years old and have been fans ever since. So then I started thinking, well, I have a number of their albums as a group and by themselves. So maybe I'll do a quick video about them. So the group was called Blues, Rags, and Hollers. And this is with Spider John Kerner, Dave Snaker Ray, and Tony Little Son Glover. Three white boys from Minneapolis area who put out really great country blues, really raw and just wonderful. Two of them play guitar. Tony Little Son Glover is the harmonica player. And this album was put out in 1964, if I remember correctly. 63. Yeah, this one first was put out as an audiophile copy in 63, very small label, impossible to find. And then right after that, Elektra Records signed them and put them on this album. They do things on here, Ramblin' Blues, Line and Track, Down in Louisiana, One Kind Favor, Snaker's Here, Lowdown Rounder, just great stuff. One of my favorite. And that's the Elektra label you all know and love. This is 1963. 1964, and I had thought they recorded both these albums at the same time and then just broke them into two albums, recorded them 2 years, released them 2 years apart. I don't know for sure. This is 1964, and this is lots more Blues, Rags, and Hollers. This is the first one that I ever had. And again, they do real great country blues on this. And this album was the first time I ever heard the song Black Betty. I'm sure you all know the 1977 semi-hit by, what was the band? Ram Jam. So I did some research into that song, Black Betty. And it turns out the term Black Betty is not a woman at all. The original term was from the 1700s, and they used it for referring to some sort of liquor, whiskey. Even Ben Franklin mentions Black Betty in some of his writings. But this term morphed. And by the 1800s, it was used a lot to signify the whip that the slave owners would use against the slaves. And then it morphed again, and et cetera, changed, etc. In 1934, Alan Lomax, who was a field recorder, went down the South, recorded people playing traditional songs, was in the Texas State Prison, and recorded a man named James Ironhead Baker in 1934, recording the song Black Betty. A couple of years later, Leadbelly, who knew Alan Lomax and was involved with all those field recordings, recorded his version in 1939. So a lot of times if you'll see the song Black Betty, you'll see Leadbelly as the originator, even though the song is really in the traditional folk tradition of being listened to, changed, added lyrics, changed things around, passed down to the next generation, etc., etc. And then in 1964, these guys recorded on this album. And it's only 59 seconds long. It's just hand claps and singing. Who does it on this one? It said, learned by Dave from Leadbelly Record, is a fast, unaccompanied field holler. The performance is powerful. What more would city singers would venture into this unaccompanied waters? Fantastic. And then 1965, Odetta recorded it. Manfred Mann recorded a copy in 68. And then 1977, Ram Jam had that sort of rocky version of Black Betty. Tom Jones even recorded a version later on. So it's a song's been around a lot. I love their version. Ram Jam obviously heard their version. It's very much copies it. But on this album, they also do Duncan and Brady. They do Keep Your Hands Off Her, which is great. Lady Day about Billie Holiday. Freeze to Me Mama. Love Bug, Fannin Street. Just a fantastic album. again, on that, I think it's on the same Elektra label. And then the next year, 1965, Spider John Kerner recorded a solo album, and it's called Spider's Blues. Again, on Elektra, playing, he accompanies himself on a 7-string guitar, kazoo and mouth harp, and Tony Glover plays on a couple songs with him. He does I Want to Be a Partner, Spider Legs, Ramblin' and Tumblin', not Rollin' and Tumblin', he calls it Ramblin' and Tumblin'. Rent Party Rag, which is great. Baby Don't Come Back. Again, great country blues. Spider John Kerner, this is Spider Blues. And that same year, Dave Ray recorded a solo album, and it's called Snaker's Here. Also from 1965, and also with Tony Glover backing him up on harmonica. And does songs on here, Rock Me, Bullfrog Blues, Ramblin' on My Mind, Last Fair Deal Gone Down, Rising Sun Blues, just fantastic. Dave Snaker Ray. And that same year in 65, the three boys got together again and recorded another album. And this is called The Return of Kerner, Ray, and Glover. Just still doing the same kind of country blues, but the songs they haven't covered before. They do Statesboro Blues on this one, The Titanic, Don't Let Your Right Hand Know What Your Left Hand Is Doing, Lonesome Road, Pack and Trunk, John Hardy. Just great, great stuff. The Return of Kerner, Ray, and Glover. In 1969, Spider John Kerner hooked up with a piano player out of Minneapolis area named Willie Murphy and put out a fantastic album called Runnin', Jumpin', Standin' Still. Willie Murphy plays real barrel house, boogie-woogie kind of piano on this. And so it's a little more upscale than the other albums. But it's just wonderful, a record. And this is on the Elektra White Label promo. And all these records, I've seen these all the time for less than $10. So I would definitely encourage people who like that country blues stuff to pick up any of these albums. And I was Running, Jumping, Standing Still. 1986, I think it is. Let me check my notes. Yeah, 1986, Spider John Kerner puts out an album called Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Been. Not I've seen, but I've been. And this Spider John Kerner, 1986. And this one, again, has Willie Murphy, but this time playing bass, and Tony Glover playing harmonica on a couple of songs. It's on Red House Records. Great label from Red House. And again, a little more upscale because he has a bass, mandolin, fiddle. But again, a great album, Cotton Eye Joe, Black Dog, Froggy Winnicotton, The Roving Gambler, St. James Infirmary, Cotton Eye Joe, just great. John Kerner. And then finally, the last one I have by them is 1990, and this is by Dave Ray and Tony Glover, without Spider John, and just the two of them. And this album is called Ashes in My Whiskey. This one I picked up at a record store about 2 years ago, and it was still sealed, which was pretty great. There they are. Tony Glover and David Ray. And they do, again, Uncertain Blues, Stuff You Sell, In the Jailhouse Now, Devil Got My Woman, Catfish Blues, Ashes in My Whiskey. Just great, great album from 1990. So I would definitely encourage anybody who likes traditional country blues and wants to hear a white boy take on it. They just do such a great job. Really traditional. Great stuff. Unfortunately, David Ray passed away in 2002. Tony Glover passed away in 2019. But John Kerner is still alive and kicking. And don't know how many, he's in his 80s, so I don't think he's doing too many recordings anymore. But yeah, Blues, Rags, and Hollers. Great stuff. Early on, they really influenced Bonnie Raitt and all those people. They really, if you look at Bonnie Raitt, she always talks about them as being big influences on her early career. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something you didn't know before. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I really would appreciate it. I really appreciate all the new subscribers I've gotten recently. And until next time, peace.